pretty soon, if not already, you will see in the mail notice of valuation for your property. And so we're talking about that. Patti McLean, our Mason County Assessor. Todd as well is in here. Let's see. Tom, sorry about that. Tom, good to see you, and nice to see you, Patti, here. And folks get these in the mail, and they go, man, either they're smiling or they're not smiling. And Tom, you're one of the guys that walks around and checks the different properties in the county and kind of evaluates and assesses these types of things. Is that how it all works?
Yes, so we do go out, we physically inspect 1/6 of the county each year, and we go out and we make sure that whatever information we have on file is correct. If there have been any changes, we do make notes of those. But yeah, I'm one of the 6 appraisers that we have with Mason County.
How detailed do you get when you get to a property? Do you have kind of a satellite image of what it looked like the last time a satellite went over and took photos, and then you kind of go, well, that looks different, or there was something there but it's not there?
So we do have photos that we will review of maybe the last time an appraiser was out there. We will potentially use satellite imagery, and we will take a look and see, has the siding changed, has the roof material changed, have they painted the house, anything that has changed that may in any way result in some sort of an update.
And so, Patti, we look at not only the house value, but the land value when you get these determinations. And where if you see a new roof or new siding, how do you determine the additional values and those types of things?
So we use a Marshall & Swift cost tables to build what the house was to build a house, the quality and condition. So what you build the house with, minus depreciation. So if you do your upkeep, your general upkeep, it'll have less depreciation for the new roof and stuff. Will account for that. So.
And when folks.
They don't seem to realize it's today's cost to build that house minus depreciation. And then Shelton was our city limits, was our inspection area, what our site inspection was. So it's all today's cost tables. And you got a 1930s house that's not really, looks like a 1930 house because of the upkeep, So the better you keep your house, the less depreciation.
Interesting. And Spencer, do you have something?
No. I'm sorry.
So after it's all said and done, and if someone sees the postcard in the mail with the valuations, what are their next steps if they feel as if there is they don't really agree with those numbers?
So we really encourage the taxpayers to call and talk to somebody in the office. They have a 30-day appeal process from the notice of value. So November 31st would be the 30 days. We strongly encourage them to call and go over their concerns. If there's been an error on the property, we want to make sure all the attributes to the land and the house are all correct. Say they only have 1,200 square feet and we had 2,400 for some reason. And we only go out once every 6 years, so if they've demolished something in that, other 5/6 of the areas, unless they filled out a destroyed property, we won't know about it. We do act on new construction every year with the building permits. So any new construction buildings we pick up as of July 31st of the year. So, there might be some concerns of maybe how, what we measured compared to what, they're all external measurements. A lot of people, they'll say it's only this many feet and be like 5 feet off. So. And we strongly encourage them to come over and talk to us about it just to make sure everything's accurate.
Is it based on things like number of bedrooms and things like that, or is it strictly square footage? And
strictly square footage with quality and condition. So, you got your basic square houses, might be an average house or fair quality, but you get the more custom homes, gets up in the good qualities, more cutouts, more roof lines and pitches and stuff. So, it just depends on what it's built with to come up with the quality. So,
Tom, when you're out walking about and looking at these places, and we've been hearing some reports, and this isn't the assessors, this is something else going on, the census and the census takers, they kind of have been walking around the county. What types of things do you do to identify yourself to folks that say, hey, I'm with the county and this is happening, and we do this every 6 years, so you probably remember me from the last time.
So generally speaking, if it's a residence, when I pull up in a county vehicle, I will pull up in such a way that the logo of the vehicle is visible from the front door.
Good.
I do have a county ID badge. I will usually have some sort of a reflective orange vest on just to make sure that I am visible.
Seen.
Especially oftentimes in hunting season. And whenever I go up to a house, knock on the door, let them know who I am, where I'm from, why I'm there.
Yeah.
If there is nobody there, I will oftentimes leave a business card at the door while I walk around the house, just in case they do show up while I am walking around the house.
Okay. Good. So it's well known that this is happening, and I'm sure people talk to and they say, well, the assessors, they've come by, they've done their business.
And with a lot of surveillance out, you get caught on surveillance, so they'll definitely call with, was your appraiser out in our area?
Yeah.
I had a call last week with a guy that he had somebody taking pictures of his house, and he kept saying the 11th. Well, we had nobody out in the field that day, so I kept asking him, are you sure? Did they have a county logo? And they said they didn't leave anything. Ended up being a fee appraiser that was there on a Saturday, so it was really a fee appraiser, but they should identify themselves also.
Sure, especially kind of these days, you just don't know.
Yeah.
We got some long driveways, maybe not in the city limits, but out county for sure.
A lot of dogs and stuff. Do you run into a lot of resistance?
Occasionally, you will get asked to leave by a taxpayer, and that is fully within their right to do so. Occasionally, there are dogs, but they tend to be okay. There are some times when maybe I won't necessarily get out of the car until hopefully the property owner calls their dog off. That has happened occasionally, but generally speaking, most people realize that we're just there to do our job.
It's in their best interest too.
Generally, yeah.
When it comes to the guidelines and the valuations, is it a statewide, a county-wide, or a county-wide, or even just a neighborhood-wide metric that you look at?
We are supposed to be 100% of market value.
Okay.
And that's statewide. So a lot of people will think, that we make the market. We don't make the market. We just follow the market. So, it's a willing seller to sell to a willing buyer. It's not at duress. So it has to be a valid sale between the buyer and the seller. And it has to be listed, out on the open market. We don't just look at quick claim deeds or something. So, we have to follow the market as set by the Department of Revenue.
And when the last couple of years as you've been doing this, and I know you have been in the office well before that and in other counties and things, what have the trends that you've seen recently? We hear about high prices for homes and high rental prices for homes, and is that continuing to be a pretty steep trend that land values are going up as well as home values?
So countywide, he found it was about a 6% increase overall going up.
Okay.
Last year, I guess it was about 17%.
Wow.
I was down at Grays Harbor last year, and it was higher than that. It was between 20 and 30, and it was still the same this year because they're still just selling for way more than what we have for assessed value.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so again, people can either come into the office or head to the website co.mason.wa.us/assessor and find out more information on this and where you can.
They can call if they're out of state, and we'll go over everything over the phone with them.
Do you find that happens a lot too?
Oh yeah. Sometimes, within the notices went out yesterday, and they leave from Spokane, so we give it a few days. There's about 1,400 signed up for our e-notices, so they'll get them. I got mine last night, so we might get those calls sooner. But yeah, we strongly encourage to call before, just to make sure everything's accurate if they don't feel their value's right.
And then what's the next step after all of these properties have been assessed? That plays into strictly the buying and selling of these properties, or will that have impact too when it comes to property taxes and things like that?
So we have the 30-day protest period, and we have to provide the taxing districts their assessed values within their districts for their budgets. So we're starting to get that ready for them to do their budgets and turn them in by November 30th. We do have a time frame in December where we lock down the values, because these values are for 2020 taxes, and then we have a time frame where our office calculates the levies per the budgets turned in by all the taxing districts, and then by January 15th we should certify and send it to the treasurers. And once we do that, they're pretty much, we have to balance what we push over to them, what they receive, and then once we balance, then Lisa will start doing the tax statements for 2020 based on these values.
Tom, when you're out driving around, just when you're off work, do you find yourself valuing houses?
I did that before I was working for the assessor's office. I was an architecture buff in high school outside of, so I was always walking around neighborhoods looking at just houses that looked architecturally interesting. So It's been a little exacerbated since I've started working, but
That's
it's
fun.
But I'll catch, I catch myself too, like this is this, and
Sure. You go, man, and then or you'll see the listings and go, I don't know about that one. That's
I'll tell you,
good luck.
My new valuation, he came in within $5,000. We just built a new home of our fee appraisal.
Wow,
so
that's
I
great.
think he did a great job.
And I'm sure it's beneficial to not only county residents but the office to have someone who's as accurate as that, right? So you're not having to go back a lot.
And then in the end, we have to turn in a bunch of reports to the Department of Revenue with our ratios and stuff, because it also sets, for the utilities and some state school levies, and it all factors into that also.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
It's a lot of pieces a lot of people don't know, but I have a great staff, and they're very good at explaining everything to everybody and going over stuff. So
you likely saw your valuations come in to your email, otherwise in the mailboxes in the next couple of days.
Yep.
By the end of the week or so, and have the opportunity to contact the county if you have questions about that. Lisa, Patti, good to see you. Tom, good to see you, and thanks for coming in.
Can I do one more little
Yeah,
note real
please.
quick? I just want to make sure when people call not to get impatient, because the phone lines kind of get backed up a little bit. I strongly encourage to leave a message. Last year there was an issue with the phone system. It was a new system, and with everybody being on the phone, it kind of backed up some voicemails. So I think a lot of people were a little irritated. So
Not ignoring you, just take some time to get through.
we'll get back to everybody. Just
Very
leave it.
good.
Sure.